Are the carbs really that bad? Well, let's find out. Everyone heard about carbs. The carbs usually have a bad reputation. They make us fat. Are they really? Let's see. First things first, what are the carbs? The carbohydrates represent one of the major macronutrients. Their role in our body is an energetic role. Our bodies prefer the carbs when we need some energy. When the body wants to use some ATP, it will break down the carbs and create the ATP. When we work out inside a gym or when we sprint, when we have some explosive movements, our body uses the ATP that's formed from the glucose. Exactly like the proteins, it has 4 calories per gram. And when we have a carb source, our bodies break it down into glucose and gets deposited into the liver and into the muscles as a form of glycogen. We have between 400 and 600 calories worth of glycogen into the liver, and depends on the muscle mass, we have between 1200 and probably up to 2000 calories worth of glycogen into the muscles. Now, one important thing to know here, our bodies can take and regulate our glucose level, blood glucose level, just from the glycogen that's in the liver. The body cannot take the glucose and the glycogen that's in the muscle. It can only be used as a source of energy. If our goal is to put on muscle mass, we have to make sure that we have enough carbs into our diet to give our body enough energy to sustain our workouts. Let's see some sources of carbs. Up here I have some cream of rice that I absolutely love. I have it in the morning during my breakfast. Some oats that lately, I don't know how they start to get some bad reputation. I have no idea why. We have some pasta here, some honey, great source. It's fructose, but it's a good source, don't exaggerate with it. Fruits, sweet potatoes, white potatoes, great sources. We have some rice, normal rice, and some dates from Algeria. These are my usual sources of carbs that I have every day or almost every day. 2 big meals with rice, I have 2 big meals with pasta, I have the cream of rice during the morning, I have the oats in my shake, the fruits also in my shake, some dates also as a dessert after the meals. And in total I think I have around 500 or more than 500 grams of carbs a day. Talking about quantity is not really a rule for the carbs. For the fats we know that we have around 0.5 and 1 gram per kilogram for the guys, 0.7 and 1.2 for the girls. For proteins, usually we recommend 1.2 grams per kilogram, but for the carbs, we don't really have a rule. Now let's say that I have the maximum for protein, 1.2 grams, the maximum for fats, 1 gram. How do I put all those extra calories? Where should I put them? Well, definitely in the carbs. If your goal is to build up muscle, you have to make sure that you have more calories, that you're in a caloric surplus. Therefore, if these two are already maxed up, you have to max up the carbs also. So if you have to reach 500, 600 grams of carbs per day, you have to do it. On the flip side, when we want to lose the fat, first we cut the fat, we go from 1 gram to let's say 0.7, eventually 0.5, and we have a lot of room to play with the carbs, so we can decrease the carbs a lot. The big question, when should we eat carbs? Well, let's think about it. Let's say that you have 500 grams of carbs a day. When should you eat them? The entire day. You cannot just put them in 1 or 2 meals. So you have to spread them the entire day. Every meal should contain some carbs, so eventually at the end of the day you reach your target for carbs. Let's talk a little bit about the insulin. We know that the carbs can spike the insulin, and the insulin spikes are not what we want. Therefore, how can we prevent that? Well, I'll give you a perfect example. I have here the cream of rice. It's a fast absorbing carb. I have this with 4 eggs, half an avocado, sources of protein and fats. Do you think that the insulin will spike because I also have a bowl of cream of rice at the same meal? It will not. Imagine this, into your stomach, they go all together. It doesn't separate inside your stomach. Therefore, your insulin will not spike because the food goes slowly into your small intestine. If I have in the morning just the cream of rice, then yes, definitely the insulin will spike, and then after that I will crush. But it's not alone, it's with sources of protein and fats. When should we worry about the insulin spikes? Well, think about people, I'm sure you know guys that have a breakfast and then the next meal is in the evening. In between they just have snacks. Snacks like a cookie, they have a chocolate, they have a coffee with sugar. Then you have the insulin spikes. Because you have these sugar spikes all the time, you just treat your body a little bit here and there, and then it's dangerous. Then it's not okay. The body is predisposed to transform all that sugar into triglycerides. Let's say that I have my normal meal. I have the pasta with beef and tomato sauce. And after the meal, I will have a spoon of honey. that spoon of honey will not spike the insulin because it will go together with the meal. But if I have a spoon of honey with a cup of coffee, then definitely it will spike. Now this doesn't give you a green card to have a bunch of desserts after the meal. They still count as calories. Now another important thing that we find with the carbs are the fibers. Sweet potatoes are a great source of fibers, even the dates have some fibers. Vegetables, pick a lot of vegetables, use them. This will help your digestive system and also it will slow down the meal. If you want to cut, if you want to lose fat, definitely use a lot of vegetables and help yourself with that fiber. It will give you the satiety that you need and it will slow down the meal. If you want a more detailed breakdown about carbs, you can find it here. I hope in today's video you learned something. Here you have a few sources, a few information, and thank you once again for watching, guys. If you didn't see the protein and the fats video, you can check them up here. Thanks again for watching, guys. See you next time. Ciao.